We ate a hot dog each, resting on a bench. Speaking of the US, how'd it feel to be there after Japan? The same distant expression from the other side of the universe appeared on Catherine's face. But only for a second. If you don't want to talk about it. No, it's okay. Honestly, things weren't the way I would have wanted there either. I didn't go to school right away because... She faltered. Because we had to move often, and Mom said it wouldn't be convenient. Then I had to catch up, so I wouldn't have to repeat the year. I see. One way or another, everything we talked about led Catherine back to unpleasant memories. Well, I have absolutely nothing to brag about, except I didn't have to repeat the year, I guess. Was there a chance you would? Of course. The goof-off enterprise has its risks, but don't underestimate my power level. I said in the voice of an anime villain. Catherine laughed, and the air seemed to grow less tense. Alright, here's an important one. I miss so many great anime. I mean, I'm no Kyosuke, but I can always recognize a masterpiece when I see one. We talked all the way to evening, and a guard even had to ask us to leave because the park was closing. Nice. I didn't want this day to end. I was wandering the streets, not following a particular direction, but just walking forward, drowning in the devilish revelry of Tokyo's myriad night lights. Catherine was walking next to me, and somehow her pace was quiet and careful, as if she didn't want to distract me from something important. It's already late, I guess. I finally came to my senses and realized that we were next to her home. Thank you for today. I really needed a change of scenery. Me too. We stopped right in the middle of the street, but not in a very convenient spot. We often had to dodge annoyed people, some even muttering insults at us. Well then. To be honest, I don't want to go home so early. Early? What do you want to do then? Let's go to your place. It's my place. I mean, I don't mind. Catherine was unpredictable, as usual. Not that I wasn't happy about the opportunity to spend the night together, but what would stop her from drastically changing her mind on the way there? If you want. Don't make that face. She suddenly laughed. What face? Like I'm giving you a parking ticket. I don't even have a license. And I do now. Katya said proudly. How come? You can get a driving license at 16 in the US. Then, congrats, I guess. To be frank, I even felt a bit envious. I couldn't say I was generally prone to envy. Other people's success and welfare only interested me as a matter of fact. Maybe the reason was that I was barely interested in anybody's life except my own. What did I care for others' billions? Would I get a single yen of that? That's why I didn't really know how I felt. As if Catherine and I were competing at something and I had hit the finish line second. That didn't sound genuine. Maybe. Let's go then? I just wanted to sweep away the awkward moment as soon as possible. I was throwing careful glances at Himitz's house. Old habits die terribly hard. You'd think after everything that had happened. But no, I was still afraid of her judgment. I don't know if Catherine paid attention to that. Even if she noticed, she didn't show it. Oh, she noticed. I opened the door, entered the house, took my shoes off. All that, not even daring to look back. I felt Katya's eyes on my back, but I couldn't imagine what she was feeling. Maybe she was smiling cattily or looking at me with the same expression of cold indifference. I'll make some tea. I blurted out and rushed to the kitchen. My heart was beating so fast that it seemed it was about to jump out of my chest and go to live a life on its own. A few deep breaths. Alright. Why was I so worried now of all times? Maybe because everything would finally change after this night? Catherine stopped in the doorway as if hesitating. I met her eyes and could not tear myself away, drowning in their bottomless depths and dissolving in the languid anticipation I could read in them. My feet took a few steps forward by themselves, and a few more. I felt as though I was flying towards Katya. And there we were, standing next to each other, and our lips were about to meet. Catherine softly pushed me away and moved back slightly. Don't, she whispered quietly. Sorry, I thought that I shouldn't have come. Something like this was exactly what I had been afraid to hear. So I ruined everything again, huh? No, we didn't do anything wrong. I just thought that, well, in this situation, I should have just kept quiet. What else was there to say? Catherine stepped away from me and smiled. You would have forgiven me anything. You would have forgiven me anything? That's a weird way to phrase that. I didn't mean anything like that. I frowned. And to be fair, she was hinting at that too, boldly. How was I supposed to guess whether she wanted it or not? Did I have to ask her for written permission every time? I should probably go home. Weirdly, she hadn't felt that way when we were standing, basically at her doorstep. As you wish. Will you come to school tomorrow? Irina advised against that. No, tomorrow too tired after today to come up with a believable lie. I won't. Okay then, I'll have reason to visit you. Nice! She told me playfully and bid farewell. What the hell was that? Yeah, no, I can definitely see why he's a bit upset by that. See, like I said earlier though, and by earlier I mean very much earlier, I don't dislike Catherine. The only thing I didn't like was how obsessive Homie was being about her. I genuinely, like, so far, I'm about it. I like Catherine. But more than anything, I need my answers. So anyway, the teapot, somewhat cooled by now, was standing on the stove. I was too lazy to boil the water again. I didn't want to drink tea at night. I turned off the lights and went to bed. Even though my strange day hadn't finished the way I wanted, Catherine and I seemed to have grown a bit closer. Yeah, you did. It was nice. I tossed from side to side for a while, but sleep wouldn't come. In the darkness, it seemed as if beyond the walls of my home, Tokyo was teeming with nightlife. People were dancing in clubs, musicians were playing rock and roll, alcohol was flowing like a river, and neon lights had replaced the stars. I imagined myself flying down the streets into a bar, landing at a table with strangers and talking with them loudly. And then all the sounds mixed into one unintelligible rumble. The lights flashed by the lanterns of all colors in the underground tunnel. I soared up and froze among the cold light of stars, high above the clouds. I didn't feel lonely there. My feelings seemed to have acquired a life of their own. My love for Catherine materialized as something like an ethereal angel, and a new sun lit up next to it, and I knew it was Himitsu. These images surrounded me, and I was dissolving in them as they dissolved in me. Something had to come out of this symbiosis, but unfortunately the night would pass, the new day would come, and this feeling would be forgotten like another weird dream. Each time I tried to hold that moment of enlightenment, and each time I was defeated by the reality and the human nature. Let's go. What's in the letter? God, see, there's just so many questions. More than anything, that's my biggest motivation going forward is like, what's in the letter? I need. That's the thing. With the other two routes, it was less about answers, more just like, oh, you know, I like these girls. I want to see what the route's about. With Catherine's route, it's like, I like her. I definitely want to see the evolution of the relationship and whatnot, but it's like, the answers. I need the answers. In my dream, I was having sex with Katya. Okay, buddy. It was long and thorough. Somehow very adult. Very different from how we did it in reality. Okay, dude. Nice. I woke up extremely aroused, my bedsheets and the pillow damp with sweat. Yep, just sweat. We have an interest in procreation coded into our genes, sure, but it was weird that I would appear to not have any issues of greater importance these days. Himitsu's father, Catherine's mother, Irina. Yeah, but do you want to have sex with any of them? Not really. Okay, I mean Irina. She's not bad on the eyes, alright? Well, also neither is Catherine's mother, but, you know, definitely don't want to put my dick in that. That seems like a bad idea. Like, Irina seems like a bad idea, but I feel like there could be some advantages to it. But anyway, all those events passed by like a whirlwind, leaving me amongst the ruins of my life. What could still be saved, what had been destroyed completely. Even with the disastrous consequences of the forces of nature, I now had a moment of peace, a weird calm after the storm, where you haven't yet realized it's all over. You see the storm disappearing into the distance and turn around, seeing the evening sky touched by blue twilight, and only the uprooted trees remind you of nature's primal fury. But the view seems natural, as if it was always like this, as if it was the way it had to be. I was lying in bed and thinking whether to even make the effort to get up, to live through another pointless day. Irina advised me to stay home, and I could just as well stay home, positioned horizontally. Yesterday, Catherine, I still couldn't understand her. A step forward, then 2 steps back, running endlessly in place. Somebody quietly opened the front door. Ooh. I had forgotten to lock it yesterday, hadn't I? Although, when you know a person your entire life, you learn to recognize their movements by ear. Only Himitsu opened the door like this. Quickly jumped up from the bed and got dressed. We entered the kitchen at the same moment.
Nika-kun, did you just get up?
Something like that. I looked at the clock. It was still pretty early.
Are you going to school?
Didn't plan to. Her face seemed to lose all the colors of life. Himitsu looked, maybe not as much outwardly, but felt 10 years older than usual. She only needed a gray suit to complete the picture.
Then I probably came here for nothing. I don't even know why.
Oh, wow. Oh, Himitsu's starting to fucking lose it. Her lips suddenly curled into a creepy smile. Yeah?
I don't know why I came. It's like I was supposed to. Does it happen to you? You're doing something and don't really know why? Like a machine?
I didn't know how to respond. It was difficult for me to be around Himitsu. After I learned the truth about her father, after the scene yesterday.
These days it seems to me that for the longest time I've been doing silly things that nobody really needs. Like a stove that's been replaced with a new model and just thrown away since it's become useless. Or like a cleaning lady someone kicked out as soon as they thought the washing machine they wanted for... Someone bought the washing machine they wanted for so long. Nico-kun, why? It's not fair.
She wasn't crying, as if all her tears had dried up long ago. She wasn't even addressing me specifically, directing her pain at an invisible someone.
Don't you feel sorry for me?
Salting the wound.
Do I deserve to be treated like this?
Do I deserve to be spied upon?
What? That's what you call all I've done for you?
Yeah, you and your dad have done so much for me and my family the last 10 years.
Nika-kun.
Ooh, I don't like this angle. Himitsu whispered in a stranger's voice and lowered her head. I heard your father talking on the phone about you handling the mission well.
Nika-kun.
And how he'd been spying on the Anakins for a long time. Everything. I know everything now.
Nika-kun, you don't understand at all,
she said in the same quiet voice. Ooh, I didn't do quiet.
Dad just wants to protect you. Us.
And you've been helping him. How much have you already told him? Did everything you heard here in the evenings end up in the reports to Japanese intelligence the next morning?
Nika-kun.
Enough. I don't want to see you in this house anymore. I don't want to know you. I don't want to be surveilled. Ooh, damn, homie. Ouch. Fuck. Even I'm like, whoa, homie, a little too far. I don't want you in this house anymore. I don't want to know you. That one specifically, it's one thing to be like, I don't want you just coming in here anymore, alright? Know your place. But it's one thing to be like, I don't want to know you. It's like, fuck, dude. Yikes. If these 10 damned years, Sunshine, if these 10 years were a lie, then... I was losing my breath and couldn't find the right words. It's hard to believe I could be so wrong about someone. Have you been lying to me the entire time?
What if I have?
Oh. She suddenly shouted, throwing her head up in a pointless fury flashing in her eyes.
What are you going to do about it? Do you think you can take an even more painful revenge on me?
Revenge? Who's talking about revenge?
What is this then, Nika-kun? Do you really think I was telling Dad about your life? What we talked about? And even if I did, do you think I did it to hurt you? Do you think I'm capable of that?
I don't know what you're capable of anymore. I mumbled and turned away. Of course, it was hard to believe that Himitsu had been lying to me in cold blood all those years, but now she wasn't even denying it. What was this all for then?
Because I wanted to protect you.
From who? Myself?
If I need to.
Are kindness and care alone enough to be loved? Himitsu believed so. She believed that feelings appear by themselves as a consequence just because you've shown love to another person for years. But the heart wants what it wants. I'm sorry, but I don't love you. I don't know what reasons you had to do what you did. I don't know if you really were spying on me my entire life. But I know one thing. I love Catherine, and I can't lose her because of you. Sunshine. I started with a habit but stopped myself. Himitsu, I never intended to make a choice between you and her. Not like this. But don't try to blackmail me. I'm grateful for everything you've done for me, but that can't replace my true feelings. I can't mechanically reciprocate your love just because the amount of good you've done by me has grown large enough. This isn't an RPG. You don't get a new ability just because you gained enough XP.
So you're saying that, Nika-kun?
Her pupils shrunk to 2 dots burning with hatred.
You're saying that you're gonna love this bitch after all she's done to you?
I don't think we should continue this conversation.
Have it your way.
Himitsu replied as if answering a blackboard and left. At least she wasn't trying to deny it. Like, Nika-kun, how could you think that? I would never... Whether or not she admitted her guilt was another matter. You can always acknowledge your guilt and still believe that you're not really guilty. I definitely could. Maybe I shouldn't have told her everything I knew, revealed the last aces up my sleeve. But how much longer could I have tolerated her tricks? And imagine, even after everything that happened, she still believed she was right. Somebody rang the doorbell. I doubted Himitsu had forgotten something. Oh, that was quick. Luckily, it was Catherine, not her. Sure know how to choose the right moment. She was wearing casual clothes, not her school uniform. Skipping class? Can I come in? I don't want Himitsu to see me. We walked into the kitchen. So you were watching the house? You could say that. Katya smiled and looked around warily. Don't worry, I'm not hiding her under the bed. Good to hear. It was just a joke. No, really, I'm glad you've realized what she's like. I had help. I had told Himitsu everything, so what was the point of hiding it from Katya? Her father works for Japanese intelligence, and Himitsu may be helping him spy on me. Catherine didn't look particularly surprised. You knew? Wait, don't start accusing me of every mortal sin again. Imagine how you would have reacted a couple days ago if I'd said if Himitsu was spying on you. There was a lot of truth to her words. What else haven't you told me? Nick, that's all, I swear. That's all I know. Catherine pleaded. I just couldn't find the courage. At worst, you would have stopped talking to me for good. I'm glad you value talking to me so highly. She made a displeased grimace. How long have you known? Just a couple of days, if that. Interesting that your mom told you everything at such a, so to speak, proper moment. What makes it proper? Well, I don't even know. I drawled meaningfully, although I really didn't know. One thing was obvious. Mrs. Winters wasn't trying to ruin my relationship with her daughter. By telling her about Himitsu, she was theoretically even strengthening it. I wondered if Catherine realized as much. What was the logic behind her mother's actions? I just can't figure out one thing. Only one. I can't figure out what your mother is trying to achieve. In general, not only now. You won't. I haven't managed to in 18 years. No, that's not what I mean. What does she need from me? Just look at the situation from my perspective. First I get kidnapped, then interrogated, then we have a nice chat at your place. And remember, she doesn't even demand anything from me. Nothing in particular, I mean, beyond some broad terms. Under different circumstances, I would have thought she was worried about me. I doubt Mom actually worries about anything but her work. Catherine said with a sad smirk. Oh, Catherine, sweetie, let me hug you. She was sincere. There was a shadow of falsehood on her face, and her voice sounded confident, even passionate. If I couldn't trust her now, what point was there to living at all? You know, I haven't told you everything. Catherine raised her eyebrows and looked at me puzzled. Your mother and Japanese intelligence aren't the only ones interested in me. The KGB has been involved too. I've had a few not quite pleasant interactions with them. Everyone needs some information from me. My father's documents, as if I was his assistant. And it's hard to be the child of important parents. She smiled. There was so much understanding and melancholy in her smile that I felt a shiver of tenderness run down my spine. Katya, Catherine immediately stepped back. It was quite awkward yesterday. Again. Want to take a walk if you have no other plans? Love to hear more about the KGB. I bet your mom would love to hear about them too. No doubt. Sometime later we found ourselves at the park gate. Were you heading here on purpose? Maybe. Maybe. She replied wistfully. My mom can be many things, heartless or even cruel, but at least she's painfully consistent in her words and actions, which means she's actually confident that you know, or have, something that she needs. Well, that's not reassuring. But it also proves that she sees no threat to your life at the moment. Why? Because otherwise she would have forbidden me from meeting you. That didn't quite work with what Catherine had told me before. Maybe she just wanted to believe that her mother put her safety first. Good if that was the case, but I had my reasons to doubt it. I'm surprised you're reacting to this stuff so calmly. I got used to it. But you didn't used to know your mother works for the CIA. I didn't, but I could guess that she wasn't telling me everything. I can't even imagine how. Our gazebo appeared in sight. We exchanged looks and immediately grew embarrassed, looking away simultaneously. The park seemed to have changed a lot in just a week, or maybe it felt that way because I was with Catherine and not Himitsu. The world around us froze. There wasn't a single blow or rustle. Even the rare clouds passing in the sky were doing so carefully, as if apologizing for disturbing someone's peace. When we walked up onto the bridge, I looked down and saw my reflection as if in a mirror. It was clear, untouched by ripples of water or the glare of the sun. Catherine's face appeared next to mine, focused and pensive. I guess this park is one of the few places I really missed. Almost never visited since. It must have been hard for you, huh? These places, they bring back so many memories. I was looking into Catherine's beautiful face and couldn't even see a trace of sarcasm. This gazebo and these benches, they really were dragging me into the whirlpool of memories. Oh, flashback? My life had turned into a fairy tale. A permanent girlfriend, regular sex, and love. But why in that order? That is a good point, sir. I didn't know what was wrong in our relationship, but at some point I very clearly started to feel bored. Day passed after day, and even the physical intimacy, although it still brought pleasure, became routine. We were at school together, walked home together, spent time until the night, and sometimes spent nights together. Just to go to school together the next morning and repeat the same daily ritual, necessary to confirm our status of being in a relationship. After a while, even Kyosuke stopped reacting as intensely, although Catherine never gave much of a reason in the first place. Almost never. As for me, our relationship became something like food, sleep, or even air. Never think of the importance of these things until they're taken away. Or like health. A healthy person takes the ability to run a few kilometers or do 20 push-ups for granted. Or just the ability to walk down a street at a reasonable speed. At the same time, a disabled person watches them and envies the fact that they have both legs and both arms. I don't know how other people approach relationships. Books say that they must be worked on daily and hourly. That nothing comes without effort. Maybe the whole idea is that it's a kind of living, conscious being, not a soulless reward for finishing a quest, rescuing the princess. In games, you get a kiss in the credits, accompanied by pleasant music, but nobody tells you what happens next. They lived happily ever after. How long does this ever after last? How much time do you need for that beloved person to turn to a simple acquaintance, an acquaintance that you just have to talk to more than others, and also sleep with, take care of the house with, and so on and so forth? Does it happen naturally, or simply because one of the two stops working on their relationship? This approach always rubbed me the wrong way, the perception of something highly spiritual as a line in a CV. You can spend months in the gym and get some muscles, dedicate your entire life to studying and become smarter, even go to the army and pull off some military feat. But to win the love of the girl you're ready to do anything for, that is worth more than just sacrificing your life. To unite two lives as one, to fulfill a prophecy made in heaven. Isn't that alone enough to be together forever and ever? Why would you need to pay attention to little things? Catherine did. Our first year in high school was coming to its end. Not that I got tired or bored of her, but I definitely missed that overwhelming emotion I'd felt at the start of our relationship, that infatuation and unrestrained desire. We were sitting in the gazebo where Catherine liked to hide from the rest of the world. Sometimes it seemed to me that she was rather hiding us than herself. But I worried as little about it as the question of what I was going to eat for dinner that night. It was a little frustrating, but whatever. It couldn't be that I'd have nothing to eat for dinner. Katya was looking at the water's surface with a bored look. So then, I was telling her something about school, but she seemed to show little interest that it would. But she seemed to show so little interest it would have been stupid to continue. If you don't want to listen, you should have just told me. What am I laying myself out for? If I did, would it change anything? Not a single muscle twitched on her beautiful face. Do we come here every day just to sit and say nothing? I got wound up. If you don't like the topic, let's talk about something else. I'm fine with silence. At that moment, Catherine seemed as cold and distant as the first day we met. How long ago had she become like this again, I wondered. What if I just hadn't noticed, drowning in my illusions of all-victorious love? I can't understand what I'm doing wrong if you don't tell me. You're not doing anything wrong. She waved her hand absently and tried to smile. Would you notice if I disappeared tomorrow? The weak smile vanished, hidden by the serious expression of her focused eyes. What are you talking about? Did something happen? I immediately grew anxious. What do you think? I don't know. You always say nothing and never answer my questions. Come on, what a tragedy. She suddenly laughed. You should have seen your face. It's like someone really told you I died. You know what? These jokes of yours. Would you really be upset? Oh, Catherine, sweetie, let me hug you, please. Katya whispered and huddled up to me. I was surprised and didn't react right away. When I hugged Catherine, she was trembling. Hey, what happened? You ever feel like today's the last day of your life? Nope, never. Same as any normal person. Normal person. Catherine smirked sadly. I couldn't get rid of the feeling that she desperately wanted to tell me something, but was afraid or just couldn't find the right words. I really wanted to know what it was, but all my questions were shattered against the cold wall of indifference, or rather the feeling that I could read in her eyes and all her gestures and words, as if she was treating me with silent reproach, and just as I'd begun to forget about it and live normally, all her unspoken rebukes rained down on me again. Katya, please, don't scare me like that. You can't keep it all inside, it's bad for your health. So you want me to tell you everything? Like Himitsu? What does Himitsu have to do with anything? She'll stay with you when I'm not around anymore. Here you go again. Do you have terminal cancer or something? Now that's a twist. Sarcasm doesn't suit you. Even if it suits you, it doesn't mean that you should always... Especially with people close to you. Catherine pressed herself even closer to me. I could feel that something was happening. Somewhere deep inside, I understood that a lot of things would change in our life soon. It just could not change. However, deep in the embrace of the girl I loved, I quickly forgot about all my worries and anxiety. That night was our last moment of intimacy. And how could I not have guessed from her coldness and distance she would leave me forever the next morning? Are you crying? Huh? Are you crying? I came back from the past and looked at Catherine as if I'd just woken up. Almost 2 years had passed, but she didn't change a bit. Only in her eyes, I could see new hardness, an echo of the calculating cruelty of Mrs. Winters. I wet my eyes, but they were dry. Katya laughed. You had such a look, I couldn't resist. Can I count that as sarcasm? The most cynical kind. I didn't let her finish. Grabbed her by the shoulders and kissed her. Nice. Catherine's eyes opened wide in surprise, looking right into my soul. I could see a mix of surprise, some annoyance, and confusion. But then Katya relaxed a bit. Cute wrinkles appeared in the corners of her eyes, and she responded to the kiss. Nice! Perhaps there was less intimacy and passion to it than there could have been. More resembled the third kiss of Japanese students just starting to date. But to me, it meant more than the sex we'd had a couple of days ago. Nice! It was our first real kiss after our time apart. Yes! A kiss that was not an addition to physical lust, but one filled with pure love. Love to see it. Finally, I drew myself away from Catherine. I was just remembering the last time we were sitting in this gazebo. Well, back then. She still looked a bit embarrassed. You have good memory. Sometimes I wish it was worse. So what was I doing then? Nothing. Just sitting here. What were we talking about? About how we might not see each other anymore. Is that so? Catherine first lowered her eyes as if apologizing, then looked at the pond again. Did you already know back then that you were about to leave? She didn't reply right away. I guess I did. I immediately felt the urge to bombard her with questions. How? Why? What for? I wanted to say so much, make her understand what I was feeling. Thoughts were running into each other in my head, creating an ugly crowd. Each of them was claiming its right to be expressed before the others, but I remained silent. In the end, they became a swarm of senseless words. I, you, knew, waited, loved, why, how could you just say we would? All of this didn't matter anymore. Katya, I still love you. And I always have. That's how everything turned out back then. I'm sure you had your reasons. If you don't want to tell me, I'm not going to insist. Nick, She livened up and even seemed to jump a bit, throwing her head to me abruptly, her beautiful long hair going all over the place. For a moment a hope appeared in her eyes, but immediately died down. Catherine's expression grew grim again, and she continued in a calmer tone. You would never forgive me if you knew the whole truth. I really know nothing, but I have nothing to forgive you for. I took her hand. Besides, I only bring you problems. My mom... Quiet. Put my finger to her lips and quickly looked around. What is it? Catherine looked alert. Nothing. I just lost my Katya somewhere. She doesn't normally act like this. How does she act? At the very least, she doesn't apologize all the time. Couldn't help but notice the changes in Catherine's behavior. In the beginning, she thought even talking to me was below her. What had affected her so much? Is it about your mother? If so, I don't care. You can't choose your parents. Nice words. At least as long as everything goes relatively fine. And what if it doesn't? If she... Nick, our life isn't comprised of just our feelings. You love me, I love you. What next? We can't forget about others and ignore what's happening around us. Then let's run away. Run away? She laughed, and there was contempt in that laughter. Where? And how? It all only sounds good in dreams, sweet and romantic. I agree, but it has very little to do with reality. I'm scared for you. For us. I'm scared that you might get hurt because of me. So that's what it is. Is that why you were trying to push me away? No. She quickly looked away as if caught lying. Not just that. It's because I'm guilty. But I was already wound up and didn't let her finish. Okay, but did you think to ask me? Whether I needed to be protected? Are you going to save a village from cholera by drying up its river? Your metaphors again. I just want to say that you can't sacrifice something important to save something that seems necessary. Why would I need a life like that? A life without you. Especially now when... I was saying it all in one breath, but looking at Catherine's changing face, I finally grew embarrassed. Now she looked just like a girl who had been confessed to for the first time in her life. It's true. Everything I say and everything I feel. It may sound naive, stupid, and childish. Whatever, I don't care. After all, who has the right to judge me if I swore to love, wait, and believe? And I've always wanted to only be with you, even if I didn't realize it before. Is it a crime to love one person and love her until the end, no matter what? Catherine was listening to me silently, the surprise in her face slowly giving way to happiness. You are such a child. She finally laughed and jumped to her feet. Well, since you've decided it yourself, this time you will have to take full responsibility. Aye, aye, ma'am. Except I had no idea what to do next and how to stay alive. Well, maybe with a bit of your help. Sure, no getting around that. You're too good at sweet-talking women, both now and then. I'm not doing it on purpose. It doesn't matter. On the other hand, if I didn't want to hear it, there wouldn't be any point in you talking. So... I was afraid to ask her straight. So that's enough talking about this for today. Let's go to your place. I'll cook something. We'll eat and watch TV. I want something simple. A break from all this trouble. Yes, sure. I felt unprecedented elation. Fuck yeah. We were walking through the park, and Catherine took me by the hand. Nice. On her own accord. She was smiling. Fuck yeah. Bro, that was such a nice scene. That was fucking great. That's got me feeling all sorts of happy. I love that. That whole park moment was great. The flashback, the follow-up, everything. Oh. Oh. I'm sure they're going to get to the house, and like there's going to be some kind of issue. There's always got to be some kind of issue, right? But, oh. This confidence, this commitment to it. Oh, I love to see it. You love to see it. Because, like, I think back to Kagome's route, right? And, like, he didn't have the confidence to push Himitsu away at the right time, right? He didn't have the confidence to, or commitment to really claim his love for Kagome. And it's just like, ah, come on, man. Why can't you just do that? Now I'm trying to think, was there a moment like that with Himitsu? Where he was afraid to do it? Afraid to, like... be all lovey-dovey? Maybe early on, not quite sure. But I don't think we've seen something like quite this level of confidence as we're seeing now. Where he's like, listen, fuck whatever comes next, fuck whatever everyone's got in store for us. I'm about you, alright? And that's all I'm about. It's like, yes, be 100% your feelings, be there for your queen. I like to see it. I like to see it.